Well, most of us have had the same thoughts when it comes to new relationships. When is it time to have the hard and serious conversations? The honeymoon stage, it cannot last forever after all. Dr. Viviana to the rescue. Here's my chat with her about the relationship timeline.
Dr. Viviana, I'm so excited to talk with you again. Okay, new relationships are very, very exciting, but they can be a little bit stressful. So, can you give us a relationship timeline that we could use as a guide that would be appropriate and healthy for us?
I think for a lot of people, they rush straight into the we are each other's person. I
Yeah.
think for most of the couples that tend to do really well long term, they really stretch out that getting to know you phase throughout forever, really. It's always getting to know you. It's never thinking, I got you pegged. I know what you need, and this is what it is. So stretch out that getting to know you forever. The next thing to do is make sure that you are really involving each other's into your actual lives. So this is an opportunity for anybody out there to really think to themselves like, does my partner really fit into my life, or are we just kind of living these parallel lives around each other, kind of like roommates? And
Mhm.
unfortunately, for so many people, they do feel like roommates. So stop and think, are we actually in each other's lives and experiencing each other's lives? The last thing I think that you want to think about on that timeline is really honoring and cherishing and respecting each other's life choices. If you're constantly struggling with that, relationship therapy can absolutely help. But if you just don't feel like you can just be yourself, then chances are you've progressed a little too far and need to back it up.
That's back it up. I'll think of you.
Back
Back
it
it up. Back it up. Okay, talk to me about the early stage and what are some things we can be on the lookout in the very beginning?
Yeah. So, honesty. I can tell you after having counseled couples for over 20 years, when there is consistent dishonesty or even just a pattern of choosing to lie instead of choosing to be honest, that's a huge red flag. You want to be on the lookout for that because chances are that's a coping mechanism that has developed over time.
Mhm.
Sometimes it can be like a darn it, why did I say that? No, I'm actually 15 minutes away, not third, not
Right,
five.
right.
And if you catch yourself, that's a good sign. That's like a green flag. But if you don't and you find that person or you find that you feel like you need to be the one lying, that's a really big issue to look at from the beginning. That needs to be addressed very early on, and it probably isn't going to be fixed by you. So getting help for that's important. The other thing to look out in the beginning is a zest for life.
Mhm.
Being with somebody who is living a life that is excited and that they can get excited about, that's something that you can't really teach. It needs to be something that is over time, something that you embody for yourself. So we can't like bring that out of our partners. They need to do it for themselves, and we need to do it for ourselves.
Agreed, agreed, and agreed on that, especially the zest for life. I love that. Okay, let's talk about you're getting serious. People are meeting family members. What should the communication be like at this point?
Weekly check ins.
Okay.
Weekly check ins are an absolute must. And it will save you hours and hours of maybe therapy time, but also just hours and hours of being, frustrated with each other or feeling like you're confused or that you're out of the loop with each other.
One thing I want to point out, you say that if you're afraid to ask if it's a red flag, can you please elaborate on that?
So if you're afraid to ask if something is a problem for them or if something you're doing is a problem for them, that in itself is a red flag. When you feel pause about getting clarity in the relationship, that means you don't feel safe. There's
Mm,
something that is holding you back from doing that. You're not feeling secure, you're not feeling safe to be vulnerable or to even just do the bare base like the basics that any relationship needs to create a foundation, which is to say, how do you feel about this? Or I'm feeling like this about this. What do you think of that? If you
mm,
can't do that, huge red flag. I'm waving
mhm.
it.
Yeah, you're like, dude, get out of this. Okay, ultimately, should we be listening to our gut when it comes to relationships, or is that sometimes anxiety?
Ooh, okay. So if you're consistently feeling like you have been able to trust your gut in the past, or even in the present in other relationships, but you're ignoring it in this relationship, yeah, that's probably not a good thing. But that's when you do need to have those harder conversations. If you're not going to make decisions based off of your gut reactions or gut instincts, then you do need to have that trust, but verify the conversations to really find out what it is that's actually going on for you, or going on for them. And if those harder conversations are roadblocks, you need to be reaching out for coaching or for relationship therapy. And of course, I'd love to be a resource for all of you.
I mean, everybody, we just all need to go to Dr. Viviana. Let's all be honest. She's
I got
phenomenal.
a great team too. Okay. So yeah, check us out, vividrelationships.com.
Continue the conversation with Dr. Viviana. Find her online at drviviana.com/vividrelationships or follow her on Instagram at Dr. Viviana. We'd also like to ask your relationship questions to her, so please send us any of your questions our way via email to mycoco@9news.com. Thanks for your company.